Hey guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. And in this video, I'm literally going to be handing you 2 secret psychology tricks that you can use to sign more clients for your agency. These are honestly so simple to implement, yet so powerful. And the only thing you'll be able to think about after watching this video is why you haven't implemented these already. And I wish I'd watched this video when I first started out with my sales. It would have saved me a lot of pain, a lot of no's, a lot of failure, which at the end of the day is part of the process. But I'm literally gonna be speeding your way up to success by giving you the secrets that have worked tremendously well for me. So I'm very excited for this video. These 2 secret hacks are both gonna work for beginners as well as more seasoned agency owners. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Now, before we get into the video, if you guys are new to the channel, my name is Jaime and I'm the owner of one of the leading e-commerce agencies. And our mission is really to transform online brands into market leaders. In this channel, I'll talk all about entrepreneurship and a 360 approach to social media marketing agency with a specific focus on sales, outreach, and e-commerce. And obviously this video is all about sales. And with that being said, let's get right into the first strategy, the first trick, the first psychology trick that you can use to sign more clients. And that first trick is getting objections out of the way as soon as you possibly can. Now, let me know if this sounds familiar to you. You've gone through the whole sales call, right? And you might have spent 40 minutes, right? You get to the end of that sales call and the objection you get is I need to speak to my wife, my husband, my partner, my business partner about this decision. Now, how do you handle that objection? Well, what you would do is you would go ahead and dig a bit deeper to really find out what they need to speak to the business partner about. What is it that you actually need to think about? Because I'm pretty sure I've covered pretty much everything, but if I haven't, let's go ahead and cover that right now since you've got me here on this call. That way you can get to the root cause of why they're not making the decision right there and then, which could be either the price or the service. But obviously there's also some cases where they genuinely need to speak to their CMO, their CEO, whoever they need to speak to actually make the decision. And you need to be able to differentiate those 2 scenarios and understand that there are some cases where they actually need to speak to another decision maker. So the psychological trick that has worked tremendously well for me and that I really recommend you guys implement on your own sales calls is before you even start your sales call, right at the start. One thing you want to do, as I said, is you want to get the objection out of the way as soon as possible so that at the end of the call, they can actually pull that objection over your head. Okay, so one of the questions that I love to ask is, hey Lauren, by the way, is there anyone who needs to be on this call apart from you? Is there anyone who needs to be in the loop regarding this decision? Or is there anyone that needs to hear about this, right? And so Lauren can either say no, in which case, at the end of the call, she's never gonna say, oh, I need to speak to someone about it. Why? Because she's already committed and told you that there's no one that needs to make the decision. It's just purely her. And so she doesn't have that excuse, which actually gets her to make the decision much faster and not procrastinate. Because as humans, we love to procrastinate. We love to divert our focus from what actually matters, which is growing our business, right? And making investments into ourselves. Okay? So you've literally removed that objection right there and then, which is blissful, it's massive, right? It's incredibly important. So that's a no. If she says, oh yes, actually Chris needs to be on this call, then let's get Chris on the call, right? Why not get Chris on the call? If obviously Chris is available. If Chris is not available, there's really 2 options. You can either continue with the call, right? But obviously understand that there's gonna be a follow-up call. So you may not wanna discuss all the details, right? So they have something to look forward to. Or you literally just go ahead and ask her if she's open to rescheduling the call, right? I tend to go for option number 1 because I still want her to get value out of that. And I also know that on this call, I'm also gonna be able to show my expertise and get Lauren to buy into me so that the sale to Chris is so much easier. But that's really the first secret psychology trick that has worked tremendously well for me since I implemented it and has actually saved me a ton of time following up with people that truly were just not interested, right? And were wasting my time. So that's really the first thing. Now, the second trick is single-handedly one of the most important things and powerful things that you can do on a sales call or any sales scenario. And that is flipping the buyer to seller dynamic. And I'm gonna throw my hands up and say that this is not original, right? It's a pretty well-known sales technique, but it's something that has worked tremendously well for me. And that is flipping the script. And what I mean by this is typically on a sales situation, we've got a buyer and we've got a seller, right? Typically, the agency is the seller. You are selling a service to technically the buyer, who is the client, right? And so typically you have this situation, which is really not my type. At least I really don't like to be in the seller frame. And what the seller frame is basically you're constantly trying to validate your service and trying to sell yourself to the client. And straight off the bat, psychologically, that puts you well below the client in status and perceived value. Why? Because you're trying to validate your service and they've got the decision-making power. And so what I like to do instead is I either like to be on the same level, right? or even just above the client, where you've actually got the client almost selling themselves to you because you're so great at what you do and you've got a lot of demand for your service. And here is the catch. It's all in the mind. You don't actually have to have an incredibly successful agency to implement this mindset of being on the same level, right? Being treated as a respected business owner. And look, I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying it's easy to jump on a call and feel as confident as the buyer, especially when you're just starting out, but it's one of the things that you really need to make sure you do. So that is kind of the mindset side of things. Now onto the practical. How do you actually implement this psychology trick? And the easiest way to do this is, number one, straight out the bat, the first thing that you should do, you should dictate how the meeting is gonna go. You should be on that driver's seat right from the start. You should tell them what they can expect from the meeting and the fact that you are gonna be judging and assessing whether they're the right fit to work with your agency. And it should be very clear that you're actually diagnosing their current situation to actually understand whether you can be of value and help them or not, right? The worst thing you can do in a sales call, and I see this so many times. Why? Because I've got a lot of students that come to me and they were doing this before jumping on my mentorship, right? And what they do is straight out the bat, they're offering their service to the client, right? Why are you offering your service if you don't even know whether you guys would be a good fit, whether you can be of value to this client or not? And if you do that from the start, it puts you into this very scarcity level where the client can tell that you really need this to happen, that you really want that you really need their business, not want their business because you should want their business, but need their business because you're not being selective. You don't even have a selection process or a diagnosis to understand and see whether this client would be a good fit for them. So that's really the first thing that you can implement to make sure that you flip that script. And honestly, the second one is throughout the meeting, you want to ask the right questions that put you in a frame where you're diagnosing where they're currently at and you're actually seeing whether you could help them get there, right? And I put together this video that you guys can check out after this one, where I walk you through some of the questions that are very powerful to ask on this call. So I recommend you guys watch that video after finishing this one. But yeah, those are the two psychology tricks that have helped me tremendously and that I think is going to be incredibly powerful for you and it's going to skyrocket your sales. So if you guys enjoyed this video, go ahead and drop a big thumbs up. I'd really appreciate it. Honestly, the time that my editor spends editing these videos, right? Credits to you. The time that goes into the structuring of the content and knowledge that goes into these videos take quite a lot of time. And so I'd really appreciate it if you guys drop a big thumbs up. It really helps the channel a ton. Also go ahead and follow me on Instagram. That is my Instagram handle. I'm posting a lot of content on there that I'm not posting anywhere else, all about SMMA, but entrepreneurship, share my journey and very valuable tips that I learned throughout the way. So if you guys want to check that out, that is my handle. And my final plug is if you haven't checked out the free masterclass that I've put together for you guys on how to sign and keep 4-figure retainer clients, monthly clients for your agency, go ahead and check it down below. There's nothing for sale and people are literally implementing the strategies, the scripts, the templates that I give you on this free masterclass and implementing them to sign more clients for their agency, grow their revenue and build their lifestyle business. So if you want to check that out, go ahead and check out the link in the bio. And as always guys, hope everything's going well in your agency journey and I will see you in the next one. Peace.